This, as has been indicated, is a fairly short communication, mainly touching on what I promised at the last presser, to specifically talk about controversial issue that has now been generally termed dirty money in the FDC. The background of it, as you may recall, is that while addressing the National Council meeting of FDC, to which I had been invited to deliver a keynote address in November last year, I did not have, and I do not have up to now, any personal matters, issues with the Honorable Nandala Mafabi. In fact, until this money issue arose, I considered him not just a colleague, but even a friend. And it was on that basis, indeed, that he entrusted me with 300 million shillings, which I will be also talking about at this meeting. Primarily by establishing the facts relating to the money, and that the facts would be found in the accounts of the party and the records of the party. Which accounts and records we had been inquiring into ourselves prior to my appearance before the National Council, but had been denied because eventually they said we were not entitled to such information. So I thought that this committee now was going to help us get the facts. Until now, even as we sit here, nobody in the party knew where the money came from, how much it was, and how it was employed. Up to now, there is no, because at the time this information came, there was an acting party president, the Owekitiibwa Joyce Nabosa Sebugwao. Neither the acting party president then, nor the substantive party president, the Honorable Patrick Amri Atoboy, knew how much money had been secured by the party, from where, on what terms, and how it was being used. And so that's why I emphasized to the committee that this is the best help they can give to the party. Establish the facts. It is fair to give details of one of the things that has been focused on regarding this dirty money. And that is that 300 million that the Honorable Nandala gave me. First, the Honorable Nandala has been telling a lie to say that he told me it was meant for agents, polling agents in that election. Clearly, if he had said it was party money meant for agents, I would have provided the obvious solution that it should be placed on the party account. Because whereas him as a person would fear, and he told me the reason he was giving me the money was that he feared revenue authority, that revenue authority was demanding money from his companies. And that if he placed cash, that if he had cash on his accounts, revenue authority would pounce on it, and that it would be difficult to recover it. And I know that is for sure happening with the revenue authority. And that's why I had sympathy with the Honorable Nandala when he told me that he had tax issues with the revenue authority, and that's why he was keeping cash out of the bank. But if he had clearly told me that this is money for agents, the party has no tax issues. So the money would have gone to the party account, and if the party, if the only issues the party can have with the revenue authority is maybe payee, if they have not remitted their payee to the revenue authority, which certainly would be even then a totally different matter. So it's a lie that money was extended to me to keep for party agents. In any case, this was September. The election was going to be in, was it January or February? January. So why would why have to keep money for that long? Having given me that money, as I have pointed out previously in other communications, it was about 2 weeks later that I got specific information of the dirty money. And, but maybe before I get to the information, I told the Honorable Nandala that my home was obviously not secure, because my home is always being surrounded and sometimes searched. So I told him I can't keep it myself, I would keep it somewhere, which I also discussed with him that could be safe. And my first concern came with the arrival of the money, because the money arrived at my home at 10 p.m. He rang me, he had told me he would send the money. We met here actually when he told me it was about 8 in the morning. But the money arrived at about 10 p.m. And he rang me saying that the other thing I talked about is about to arrive. And I said, but Nathan, where is it passing? Because this is curfew time. There was curfew then, and people were not allowed to move. And those who were allowed to move certainly would even risk to carry such money in the curfew time. But he said, don't worry, it's about to arrive. And indeed, before long, somebody was hooting at my gate. I opened, and it was his driver alone. He was one man in the car, and he told me, here is what was given to me to deliver to you. It was a big box. Now, because of the worry I got of that money arriving in curfew time, I thought very quickly, because I thought this may cause me problems. Because if it comes and some people know that money has come here, and I have no way of getting it out. So I can be found with this money and maybe it has issues. So I thought quickly and got one of my helpful neighbors to accept to keep something for me he wouldn't know. And so I detained the driver, having given me the box. Well, when I received the box, I opened it. It contained brand new 20,000 shilling notes, packed, of course, in 20 millions, wrapped with polythene paper, with a Bank of Uganda label on each bundle, showing the number of the numbers on each note in the bundle, the serial numbers. And that too got me a bit unsettled, but I anyway transferred this money out of my home before I released the driver to go away. And it was then 2 weeks later that the information about that money got to me. Now, when that information came to me about that money, I quickly went back to the money which had been given to me and removed those labels from Bank of Uganda, which were showing the notes, the serial numbers of the monies involved. And that is because new money coming out of the central bank can be traceable when it is released to circulation. That's how they ensure that there are no counterfeits. The serial numbers are traceable. And especially if it is new money, like we had now, it's possible to know where it was released to. So I recovered that information, which eventually I also supplied to the committee of elders, but which I also used myself to find out more information about this money. Now, since I was away, I suggested to him that it can be put at my petrol station in Zambia, where there was some security, and that it can be picked from there. And I informed the person where it was being kept to then deliver it to Zambia. And I was completely under the impression that that had been, and the other point I wanted it delivered from Zambia was that I wanted an acknowledgement of the delivery itself, that the money was returned. And when I asked the manager I had in Zambia, she said yes, the money was given to the administrative officer, I think, of the party, and she had signed. It's only now during this inquiry that I have had, so neither the people in FDC nor anybody in Zambia told me that there was any problem with the delivery of the money. I only now learned about it during this inquiry, when indeed the Honorable Nandala Mafabi was distributing papers to show or suggest that I received 300 million, but returned 299 million and something. That there was 600,000, I think, which was not returned. I had not heard about that at all, either from the party or from my manager. And so when, and the other thing he was indicating was that it was delivered, it was returned on in installments. So when that came out, I obviously had to investigate what had happened. And I indeed established that it was true. The money was received, I think, in three or four installments, but that was the wish of the lady who was receiving it. It was not because there was no money to receive, but that she didn't want to take it at a go. That was her request. Secondly, I got to learn that part of that money, because it had stayed where we put it for long, and that during the election time, money becomes devalued, loses value, that they decided to translate part of it into dollars. And so when I said, please return the money, they also returned the money still in dollars. But the dollars, apparently, instead of gaining value, which was expected in the elections, actually the value had gone down. The exchange rate had gone down, leading to that difference in the money that was not returned. As I have said, clearly nobody informed me about this. There was absolutely no reason I would want to keep 600,000 of money belonging to the party with me. If I wanted, I could have kept the 300 million, because there was no, I did not sign for it anywhere. Nobody knew, even I had it. It's me who told all the people that were involved that this money had been brought to me. And so I acknowledge that the 600,000 or so that is being talked about was not returned. Certainly I was not informed. And, you know, if they want if I have where to put the money, I have no problem returning it. I have actually written out a check. I'm only worried about whom to give it. Because I wouldn't want it to go into the hands that are dirty also.